There's something deeply gratifying about watching an annoying cultist collide with reality in a zen-like moment of pure, unrefined, sweet, juicy karma. You remember this guy?
I will literally take a bullet for Elon. What Elon is doing is more important for the future of my children than anything I'm doing. I will throw myself in front of anything for Elon. I am a true believer. You believe in Elon or you don't?
Yeah, I don't call it the cult of Musk for nothing.
Before I say this, I want to disclose, number one, I own a ridiculous amount of Tesla stock it's roughly 85% of my retirement portfolio is Tesla stock.
Okay. This is it. This is where you got to throw down. You either support Elon or you don't. Don't half-ass it.
Well, things are now so bad that even the cult of Musk has decided now is a good time to start offloading Tesla shares. I just sold 20% of my Tesla stock, says Warren Redlich, who just a month or so ago was making videos like this.
I'm afraid that this is all panic, and I'm wearing the Tesla's the next Tesla t-shirt, and there are ups and downs in the Tesla stock. This is the way things go.
The Tesla is the next Tesla t-shirt. Versus reality. So Musk cashed out some $40 billion of Tesla land fund bucks when it was at about $300 a share, the height of the bubble. Warren is slow to this party, and now that it's hit 170-ish, decided to sell. Even though he said that he thinks that Tesla land fund dollars are actually worth $1,000 right now, at this moment.
All right, what do I think the stock is worth today, which my number is way over $1,000 a share. You get to $4,000 a year. Has it overshot what I think the stock is worth today? Because I think it's going to $10,000 a share down the road, right?
If you were willing to sell it at $300 or $400 and you're buying it now, what is it worth in 5 years?
$2,000. We're in print on that.
Yes, kids, in imagination land, your Tesla NFTs can be worth whatever you imagine them to be worth. And even better, they can be worth 10 times more than that if you just have faith in Elon Musk.
You're looking at the company and you look at all the improvements that are happening. When people say, oh, everything's on fire, like, well, what am I missing? Things are going really well. I don't know if you're watching what the company does.
Where could he have gotten such an idea? Why, probably from Elon Musk.
Elon Musk, this is what he says: Tesla can far exceed Apple's current market cap. I see a potential path for Tesla to be worth more than Apple and Saudi Aramco combined.
Let's see. Saudi Aramco, market cap about 7 trillion. Apple, about 3. Tesla market cap, about $500 billion. And falling. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that when Musk says he could see a path to this happening, that path is basically that Musk randomly gets a banking error in Tesla's favor of $10 trillion. Now Warren, who thinks his magic beans are going to be worth $10,000 in the future, is panic selling them for $170. Because you either believe in Elon or you don't.
Looks like the bubble burst. Bubbles can burst?
And this is just as Musk is going above and beyond to show that he is the manifestation of pure, unadulterated, shameless, naked corporate greed. It's all about how many dollars Musk gets.
What I can say is we're going to move to just truly massive scale. Scale that no company has ever achieved in the history of humanity.
There's a meme in movies that if you ever want to make it very, very, very clear that someone is a bad guy, like totally evil, someone who deserves absolutely no pity or remorse whatsoever.
Considering the king in question preferred torturing animals to leading his people.
Have them kill a puppy.
Because he stole John Wick's car, sir, and killed his dog.
Musk is trying to challenge this shorthand for ghoulishly, repugnantly evil.
Mom! Dad! It's evil! Don't touch it!
Specifically, within a week, firing 10 to 20,000 people with the utterly dehumanizing "Dear Employee" email. I mean, damn, even if you gave them numbers, it would show that you at least acknowledged they had some individuality. But firing 10 to 20,000 people from Tesla to save money, and within 2 days demanding a $50 billion pay bonus for himself.
They wondered if it'd be possible to fire 500,000.
Fire 1 million.
For 500,000. 1 million. Fine, sir. Sorry to have disturbed you.
Just to be clear, Tesla in its entire history has only ever made about 5 million cars in total. So Musk is asking for a pay bonus of about $10,000 for every single car that Tesla has ever made. The entire assets of the company, when it files for bankruptcy. Oh, sorry, we're not quite there yet. If it filed for bankruptcy, how much the company would actually be worth by its assets is about $100 billion. So Musk is asking for 50% of everything that the company owns. And for what? For his brilliant leadership at Tesla.
The 5-year clock has not even started yet, which means Elon is incentivized to drive the same growth that we've seen over the past 5 years for many years to come.
And for this, Musk wants $56 billion just to keep him interested. But this week, with some of the stockholders looking like, yeah, they might have had enough and they're not on board with this, it turns out that Tesla, the company that said it would never advertise because Musk would far rather spend the money on making a better product.
What I really focus on at Tesla is like really put all of our money into and attention into trying to make the product as compelling as possible. How our sales have grown. Like we're not spending any money on advertising or endorsements or.
Yes, you guessed it. Musk, who refused to advertise Tesla, is now going hardcore on advertising Tesla's pay bonus for Musk. Now, you might remember that Musk cashed out some $40 billion of monopoly money Tesla stock to buy Twitter, which, given he owes about $10 billion of debt on it, and the company's value has now been reduced to about $10 billion, so the $40 billion of other people's money that Musk cashed out of Tesla has effectively been destroyed already by Musk. So having cashed out all that money from Tesla, Musk now wants Tesla to buy adverts on Twitter to get Elon Musk a $50 billion bonus from Tesla. And they say Musk uses Tesla like his own personal piggy bank. It's so divorced from any sense of shame. It's like stabbing someone, then getting offended that their blood got splashed onto you and sending a bill to their relatives only to find out that the guy died and only then to sue the crying relatives for the emotional harm that you suffered for having to go to the dry cleaners. He literally wants a bonus at least 5 times, probably nearer 10 times the pay of the rest of the entire company put together in the same week that he decimated the company.
Shall we decimate them? That sounds good. Nice word. Decimate.
And then did it again a couple of weeks later. Then showed how valuable and needed his bonus was by firing the entire supercharger team, only to have to rehire some of them again because, shock and horror, it turns out that if you've got financial commitments, firing the people who manage that sort of thing is only something a ketamine-fueled junkie with no impulse control could ever think was a good idea.
Oh, let's break it in. Let's fire the supercharger team this week. Yes, the supercharger team.
You know, it takes true, genuine, visionary leadership to build up a 25 to 30% inefficiency in a company. And then to just randomly decide, well, let's just fire everyone at once and sort of do it randomly without a plan. Oh, and yeah, for this he wants them to just give him 10% of the company's shares. In the meanwhile, Musk has sold more Tesla stock than anyone in history. This is on the back of promising the stockholders that just as his money was the first in, it would be the last out.
Billionaire entrepreneur Elon Musk puts his money where his mouth is.
I am personally guaranteeing that value and standing behind that guarantee with all of my assets.
Which is always kind of a red flag in business when the top brass of the company are selling their stock, because it means that they, at the top of the company, the leadership, don't have faith in the stock. They don't believe that it's going to be worth more in the future than it is now. Which is why the chair of Tesla this year sold some $40 million of Tesla stock. The vice president quit and cashed out $250 million of Tesla stock. while Musk has cashed out in total some $40 billion. It's not for nothing that Musk is starting to sound a lot more like Enron Musk. You know, Enron, where the company basically financially drove itself into a ditch and covered it all up with really sketchy accounting practices. Skillings, the CEO of Enron, was famously confronted about it by an analyst in a shareholder conference call.
Only financial institution that can't produce a balance sheet or a cash flow statement with their earnings.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Asshole.
He later went on to get sentenced to 24 years in prison. Musk recently got asked about how Tesla was bleeding red ink everywhere. Set your expectations to deja vu.
Hi Elon, it's Priya Srivastava from Business Insider. Checking into Tesla. Tesla's had a bumpy few months looking at flagging sales at home.
True.
Stock market decline.
Double kill.
Layoffs.
Multi-kill.
We can stop the question right now because I don't think Business Insider is a real publication. When danger reared its ugly head, he bravely turned his tail and yet brave Sir Robin turned about
Outstanding. So Musk is so desperate to not address why Tesla is bleeding red ink everywhere that when given a question that is clearly pertinent to his leadership of Tesla, he resorts to a simple ad hominem attack and refuses to answer the questioner. Such a comically transparent dodging of the question that it couldn't fool anyone with a functioning brain. So, of course, blue checkmark Twitter, that is, I pay Musk $8 a month for this, Twitter dropped to their knees in awe as to how brilliant Musk not addressing any of this was. If only we'd had billionaire worship like this when Enron was around. Time Warp Arrival, March 8th, 2021. And karma's just getting warmed up.
But the whole company is on board with this mission. We're going to deliver 100 gigawatt hours of batteries produced in 2022, and we're going to deliver 3 terawatt hours of batteries produced in 2030. And that's supplemental to the batteries that are supplied by our partners. So they said 100 gigawatt hours. They said that's supplemental to their suppliers. So I would say they're going to do 250 gigawatt hours in 2022.
So let's see. Back then, Tesla was claiming that within about a year or so, they would install 100 gigawatt hours of battery storage, with Warren thinking it's going to be nearer 250 gigawatt hours of battery storage. I wonder what they actually installed in 2022. 6 and a half.
But the next generation factory, the one that's coming after that, I think those might do 4 million vehicles a year, 5 million vehicles a year each. And so
you're saying that could land somewhere around 2023, 2024.
I think that it ramps. It starts in 2023, it ramps in 2024, and in 2025 it's going full bore. And if you have 3 of these factories, one on each continent, producing 4 or 5 million vehicles a year, let's say it's 4 million vehicles a year each. Now you've got 2025, you've got 12 million vehicles plus the existing factories producing, let's say, another 5 million vehicles.
Right.
And you're up over 15 million vehicles a year.
Okay, so Warren is predicting there that by 2024 we're going to be well on our way to 15 million vehicles a year. So what? 4 million a quarter, that sort of thing. In reality, it's about a tenth of that, and their deliveries are falling. Still, Warren's predictions look like an absolute bullseye compared to those of Musk's, where he was predicting in 2022 that by 2024 they would be making 50,000 semi-trucks per year. Thus far, they've made 36, and rather than being on track to make 50,000 in 2024, they're on track to make about 50. Which was still a better prediction of Musk than the Tesla Roadster, which they were making now in 2017. And
it was the foundation of the whole company. It was the Tesla Roadster. People have asked us for a long time, when are you going to make a new Roadster? We are making it now.
And took 1,000 deposits of $250,000 each, some $250 million in total, and have thus far, some 7 getting on 8 years later, delivered nothing. And these are just the Vaporware promises that Tesla isn't under investigation for fraud over. Because the full self-driving, which was of course totally functioning in 2016 and will be totally functional this time next year, every year for almost a decade so far, is now under investigation for securities and wire fraud. Exactly which part of this is screaming $56 billion bonus to you? A small reminder, the lifetime profits of Tesla are only something like $20 billion. And of that, about half of it is from selling highly dubious, scammy carbon credits, which are sold to fossil fuel burning companies so they can keep polluting. While at the same time, Teslas in America are charged from an electrical grid, which is some 60% powered by burning fossil fuel. The remainder of Tesla's profits are basically down to tax credits. Where Uncle Sam has now allowed Tesla to raise their prices per car by almost $10,000 per car, because the customers can get that back as a tax break. So let's say some 2 million cars per year at say, well, whatever, $5,000 of tax break per car. Oh, that's a nice $10 billion subsidy that Tesla is looking at this year alone. Strip out the corporate welfare and the greenwashing from Tesla, and it's a break-even type company at best. This, of course, was in an environment when there was no competition and they had no chance of fulfilling demand. You know, as a startup company. I mean, that's fine, but it's not like, give me half of what the company's worth type performance. Now that the demand for the luxury electric cars has basically been saturated, and the car prices are crashing.
This is a story about how I went from an avid Tesla fan to somebody who will never buy a Tesla again within 2 years of owning this Tesla Plaid.
If you buy a Tesla today, I believe you are buying an appreciating asset, not a depreciating asset.
But this is the worst depreciating car I have ever bought. This car depreciated harder than a 2020 Rolls-Royce Cullinan that I bought. A $500,000 car that's supposed to be the king of depreciation didn't depreciate as much as this Tesla Plaid.
Scale that no company has ever achieved in the history of humanity.
And the company that could do whatever it wanted while it was the only game in town now has real competition everywhere. Of course, Musk's visionary leadership saw all this coming years ago. Right?
With BYD, which is also on the West Coast. I think they're ramping up production of their electric vehicles. Warren Buffett owns 10% stake in that. Why do you laugh? BYD is trying to compete. Why do you laugh?
Ah, yes, the great Musk argument of laughing at things. Bold strategy. I mean, sure, the last time he tried it, it cost him some $44 billion. I wonder how it'll work out for him this time.
Why do you laugh?
Have you seen their car?
I have seen their cars, yes. In fact, at the Berkshire Hathaway meeting, I saw their cars.
Yeah.
Well, they are on a different, tell me why you're laughing. You don't see them at all as a competitor?
No.
Yeah, BYD is now the world's largest manufacturer of electric vehicles.
BYD is trying to compete. Why do you laugh? Why is that? I mean, they offer a lower price point.
I don't think they have a great product.
Yeah, Musk's losing the EV manufacture business to a company that he thought was a joke. And having used his clueless, visionless leadership to not see any of this coming and just drive Tesla straight into a ditch. Oh, I tell a lie. Musk is apparently fine with bankruptcy if someone else does the job better. Not that that stopped Musk fans from betting their retirement on Tesla.
Before I say this, I want to disclose, number one, I own a ridiculous amount of Tesla stock for it's roughly 85% of my retirement portfolio is Tesla stock.
Okay. Yeah, but before Tesla goes bust, Musk wants his $56 billion pay bonus. And Musk's exit strategy is what it's always been. More Vaporware promises. No, definitely coming next year, maybe a year and 3 months. Like the money-printing robo-taxi. Thing is, robo-taxis that are way more advanced than anything Musk has to offer already exist. And people hate them, and they lose money. And if you take Musk at his word that they would never settle an unjust case against Tesla, then Tesla has already admitted that full self-driving has already killed someone. And Musk's only liability dodge for all of this is, first of all, calling it full self-driving beta.
Great, and some of them are a little terrifying. I mean, occasionally the car seems to sort of like veer off and scare the hell out of people.
Still better.
It's still better.
Short version, good enough for Musk to risk other people's lives on. And with people like Cruise and Waymo having their licenses pulled over single accidents or having to pay out $10 or so million for a single accident.
Level 4 autonomy, what Ford was abandoning when it shut down Argo AI, is a vehicle that can drive itself in nearly all conditions.
The core technology was solid. The system that they were developing was really strong, really robust. That's not why Argo failed. It wasn't the technology. It was the business side of it that was the challenge.
Other rivals are still working on Level 4 autonomy. Waymo, Cruise, and Baidu, a Chinese company operating primarily outside the US, are three that stand out. One that isn't a leader, Tesla.
It's financially insane to buy anything other than a Tesla.
Tesla's technology is kind of a joke.
It'll be like owning a horse in 3 years. I mean, fine if you want to own a horse, but you should go into it with that expectation.
It's not even remotely close to being something that can operate without a human being behind the wheel, supervising, ready to take over at any time.
Tesla is arguably the world's biggest robotics company because our cars are like semi-sentient robots on wheels.
But now, with the software update, you can actually make thousands of people drive safer, just with a software update overnight.
Wow. And with the full self-driving computer, essentially the inference engine on the car.
It's not even remotely close to being something that can operate without a human being behind the wheel.
That's actually
Neural nets, recognizing the world, understanding how to navigate through the world.
Are we gonna have to cut that?
It kind of makes sense to put that onto a humanoid form.
Gauge, Tesla, full self-driving.
You're experiencing a car accident.
It's a decent level 2 system like Super Cruise or Ford's Blue Cruise.
You see, the thing about full self-driving is, by definition, it must be fully liable self-driving. That is, Musk is looking to make a piece of software that will make them this sort of liable for every car that software is installed on. And when people explain to him, yeah, that'll bankrupt the company, sir, he comes out with a great idea. Well, what if we dodge liability by calling it full self-driving supervised? Which is such an Orwellian turn of phrase. It's like, war is peace, freedom is slavery, full self-driving must be supervised.
Since the launch of full self-driving, supervised full self-driving, it's become very clear that the vision-based approach...
Now, will he win the stockholder vote? Possibly. Tesla is more of a cult than a company. But if he wins, you'll be happy to know he still might not get a penny for a couple of reasons. The first is, it's probably illegal. And secondly, $50 billion of Tesla stock is worth,
The stock is at zero.
But I have 52 million shares. What's 52 million times zero? And don't tell me it's zero!
The company that she started at 19 is valued at $9 billion. You own over 50% of it, right? Congratulations on that.
Forbes magazine has downgraded the net worth of Elizabeth Holmes from $4.5 billion to nothing.
Story time. There was once a company called Nikola, from Nikola Tesla, who claimed they had an idea that would revolutionize the trucking industry. Thing was, they actually had nothing and had just faked videos to make it look like they had done something. Trevor Milton, the head of Nikola, having social media'd the company to being the most valuable trucking company in the whole world without having ever made a single truck.
Nikola, on the other hand, sold nothing and was valued at $30 billion, making it the world's biggest truck maker without selling a single truck.
Then cashed out a fraction of $1 billion. Only for when the company's value cratered, when it became clear they had nothing, then Milton was charged with wire fraud.
Milton, seen leaving a Manhattan courthouse Thursday, charged by federal prosecutors who say he lied about every aspect of his truck of the future.
Milton claimed that the Nikola One could be driven, when in fact, the closest it ever came to driving was when a group of Nikola engineers took it to the top of a hill and rolled it down so it could be filmed for a commercial.
Prosecutors claiming the truck's door even had to be taped up for the video so it wouldn't fall off.
And went to prison for the best part of 5 years. Let's see. There was this company called Tesla from Nikola Tesla that claimed they had a revolutionary full self-driving software that was fully working now.
Relatively easy, and like a Model S and Model X at this point can drive autonomously with greater safety than a person right now.
Where in reality, all they actually had was a faked video. So they also claimed they had a revolutionary truck and sports car. Musk then hyped this to silly proportions, and when it became clear that the full self-driving wasn't, and that the sports car violated the laws of physics, and their revolutionary truck could do none of the amazing things that it promised, Musk cashed out some $40 billion from the company, give or take about 100 times more than Milton cashed out of Nikola, which ended up in the end getting him about 5 years in prison. And having sold all that stock, curiously after the stock was pumped up on a lot of bogus promises, they're now under investigation by the Securities Exchange Commission for fraud. This is all starting to sound very familiar.
And a man who fancies himself a god feels a very human chill crawl up his spine.
Musk is the modern-day living embodiment of the Emperor's New Clothes, maybe rebranded to something a little more on point, like the remarkable techno-poncy Rocket Jesus and his amazing NFTs. Some of us just realized it was a naked bullshit merchant a little sooner than others, while others are still fantasizing about how much they can invest in the Emperor's new full self-driving clothes.
Scale that no company has ever achieved in the history of humanity.